A good vision needs to be measurable. These are clearly measurable. 100% growth and 100% serving. Any questions? Okay. Dietrich Bonhoeffer. Everybody read about him, know about him? If you have paper and pencil, I would encourage you to write down his name and just look up a little Wikipedia on him. This German Lutheran pastor was executed by the Nazis in April 1945. He was, of course, falsely associated with the attempted assassination of Adolf Hitler. And the sad part is he was executed about 2 weeks before the Allied forces liberated that concentration camp where he was in. You know, there's a lot of stories like that. But the reason I have him up there is we've got to be ready to allow ourselves to be interrupted by God if we're going to do something that's going to stretch us out of our comfort zone. We need to be stretched. We need to be inspired. We need to get uncomfortable. And we need to go in faith, like those who have gone before us. And when I think about the vision, oh, the places we can go. I had a Dr. Seuss slide up here, and I thought it was a little much. But I took it. Oh, the places you could go. Imagine, Emmanuel in 2027. Think about that, 2027. Imagine being recognized as the example of Christ's love in Grand Rapids, holding to our core beliefs and our core values. Imagine being asked by your friends about the great things that are happening at Emmanuel downtown. Imagine members serving in places and ways that they have never even thought of. And imagine 100% of us joyfully and intentionally serving and praising our amazing God. That's what I imagine, and that's what the board imagines in 2027. Now, one more thing I want to cover. Like Apple, right? There's always one more thing. Here's the one more thing. We are a church. I'm going to read these. I'm not going to sing. Our God is so great, so strong, and so mighty. There's nothing our God cannot do. The mountains are His, the rivers are His, the stars are His handiwork too. Our God is so great, so strong, and so mighty. There's nothing our God cannot do. Our kids sing this. Let's us sing this together. Right? As we look to the vision for the future of Emmanuel. We are a church. So today I ask, did we cover this? What a vision is. Why did we choose what we're doing? When are we going to get there? 1 + 2 + 3 equals where we are going as a church. Questions? We're pretty good at time. I want to leave about 10 minutes for questions. I'm prepared. You guys I've got something. I'm somewhere. You need something.
I like, and it doesn't really matter what I like, but I like the idea of 100% increase in worship, and and it's a great way to measure, I'm sure. Is there any way that we can make a measurement though that says that looks more at that service outside of the church building? I fear, because I've seen so many churches become, and I see it reflected in this, but the measurement is internal as opposed to external, and so I was just trying to work that through, but I don't have an answer.
Yeah, it's a great question. So, if you didn't hear the question, the fear of measuring and looking at service within. And I could have done a better job of highlighting this, whether serving internally or externally focused. So it's not just serving Emmanuel Lutheran Church, it's looking to the needs of the community and going outside of the church and serving them.
Oh, right, and I agree. I totally, and I tried to express that, but
Okay.
but your measurement you said was church attendance, so that was the one that was.
Church attendance would be for the 100% growth. So we would have a measurement for the back half of that.
Okay.
and we'd have a measurement for the front half of that.
Okay, okay.
Does that help?
Oh, yeah.
So there's not just one number, there's two numbers we're measuring.
So how are you going to measure that front?
We will measure the front number. We call it, as lack of a better term, a self-reporting process. There's no other better way that we can do it but going individually to each person and asking, how are you serving? Are you able to serve? How can we enable you? Where is your passion? It's both a blend of the needs of the church, your passion for development, of witnessing, and what the community needs. It's a blend of all of those things. And Pastor will be covering next week of how, that's the how. I stop at the how. He picks up at the how of how are we going to give people the chance to serve
Okay.
that excites them. We want to hear what excites you, not just what Emmanuel needs, but everybody's given time and talent that we want to leverage either at Emmanuel or in the community. Everybody's different. And so that's the work of the leadership here, is to dig in, teach, train, and embolden those of the congregation and our members and guests to use their talents in their time where is best appropriate that God leads them. Great question.
May I ask another question?
Of course.
On the worship attendance, one thing that we're, saying over here was great. How about we just, this is going to sound really bad, but how about we just close down a few other Lutheran churches that are struggling, and great, we've got our 100% growth. And I don't think that's the vision here. The vision is helping those who don't know Christ to come into Christ. Can that be expressed more in this vision?
I can tell you without telling you, the plan is not to buy up other churches and pull them in by any means, and that's not the hope.
Right.
I guess the best way to answer that would be, can we provide a deeper analysis of, well, to me, that goes back to the absolutes of the vision, that the vision can't destroy what your core beliefs or your values are. And that's not a core belief or a value of ours, is to attempt or do things like that.
Right. I wasn't saying that. I'm saying could we emphasize more the other, that we're really seeking for those who don't know Christ to
Yes,
come.
we can absolutely do that. Yeah, and we can highlight that more in this body of work if that helps do that.
It's a good reminder, I think, at least for me. Maybe I'm the only one who needs that reminder.
Oh, that's good. That's a good feedback. I'm sorry. Okay, Pastor says ends one touches on that, and I think he'll be covering that next week in detail as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
Send them to those churches that are failing.
I'm going to read something to you. I was anticipating someone to ask this question, so I'm just going to bring it up anyway. Because my wife found this. Katie's hiding in the kitchen. What if we don't make it? It's got to be in your mind, right? What if we don't make it, Tim? What if we get 50% and 70%? What happens? Okay. 3 paragraphs. You train fleas by putting them in a jar with a top on it. I didn't know this. Fleas jump. So they will jump and hit the top over and over again of that jar. As you watch them jump and hit the top, you'll notice something interesting. The fleas continue to jump, but they now are no longer jumping high enough to hit the top. Then, and it's a matter of record, you can take the top off. And though the fleas continue to jump, they won't jump out of the jar. I repeat, they won't jump out because they can't. And the reason is simple. They have conditioned themselves to jump just so high. Once they have conditioned themselves to jump just so high, that's all they can do. Many times people do the same thing. They restrict themselves and never reach their full potential. Just like fleas, they fail to jump higher, thinking they are doing all that they can do. We need to take the lid off of the jar and jump as high as we can. And just see how high the Lord can let us go in this community. If we don't make it, we will continue to jump, and we will continue to jump. And we will be better because of it. and we would be better servants and be able to glorify our Lord at Emmanuel Lutheran Church.
I was just suggesting to him that those that don't go to church, send them to those churches that are failing.
Well, Pastor can cover that next week. That's the how. I don't cover the how. I don't do that. Yeah. Thank you, Cheryl.
I'd like to first of all congratulate you and the board of directors on going through this exercise. And, as many of you know, I worked for the Grand Rapids Press. That fortress they built in 1966 will last forever, just down the hill. And was going to be built for, and where is it now? It's gone. Personally for me, I went through a lot of career changes, work habits had to change hard. And, for me and a lot of my colleagues at the press, converting to MLI was very painful. We're reaching more people now than ever before by embracing digital. I'm not here to sell what we're doing, but my personal experience is very painful and wrenching for a lot of people. For us to go to 100% is going to be very painful and wrenching for a lot of people who will look at it and shake their heads. We never did like this before. I'm so uncomfortable I can't stand it anymore. Some of us probably will not like what we're doing, what we have to do differently. Some of us hate what we have to do and may feel compelled to leave. This is going to be an uncomfortable process, and we need to embrace the change if it's going to work, if we're going to get there. And we need to recognize that going in. This is going to be a painful journey for some of us, but if we keep our eyes on the prize, we keep our eyes on our mission, hopefully we can swallow our pride and make the changes we have to make, not for our own sake, but for the sake of Christ. And I think we need to have our eyes open going into this. This is not going to be easy, and it's going to make some of us very uncomfortable.
I'm into that, and we've had the same discussions at the board. Self-sacrifices and things. It's not easy. The easy part is to stay the course of what we're doing. And we can see what happens if you continue just to stay the course. So thank you, Jim, for sharing. Appreciate it. Pastor, do you mind closing us with a short prayer?
Tim will be out in the parking lot afterwards. And we're going to talk Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we gather here once again, 150, almost 8 years. Your people have gathered on this ground that you have declared, and you have made it holy because Christ has inhabited this place with us. And so, Heavenly Father, as Tim talked about, we have a great charge. But the charge is not just from this congregation, it came from your lips, Jesus. That you desire that no one should perish, but all should come to faith in you. You wept over Jerusalem. You had compassion on the crowds because they were like sheep without a shepherd. Lord Jesus, we desire you to be the shepherd of the sheep. We desire you to be glorified, your name to be lifted up, where people desire to come before you and worship and praise. So, Heavenly Father, thank you. I thank you for the board's work. For 2 years they have wrestled, as Tim has said. They have prayed. They have desired to be faithful to your words and your truth. They have listened to the congregation.
They've invited and they've pleaded for people to share, to dream, to journey with them. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the board's message as they represent the congregation, that the future is too important, that the work is too urgent. The Savior's love is too precious to hold for ourselves. And so, Holy Spirit, help us. Holy Spirit, lead us. Holy Spirit, empower us. Because as Jim and Tim have said, this is not going to be easy. But with you, all things are possible. How great and how awesome is our God. So, Lord, thank you for this time together. Over this week, may we chew on it, may we wrestle with it, may we, above all else, pray that you are glorified, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, in the work of this congregation and in the work of this community. For in Jesus' name we pray.